Joining us now, she has been busy, but she's been on the show before and has just made a big move. She is the new head coach at Fresno State. Of course, one of the greats coming over from CSUN. Did a great job at CSUN. Of course, two-time SEC Player of the Year, multi-time All-American. Has been to the World Series. Is one of the great players of all time at Alabama. She's won pro championships. She's done it all in this sport. I speak of Charlotte Morgan, who's kind enough during this busy time to join us here back on In the Circle at D1 Softball. You've been busy.
Yeah, extremely busy. It's been a whirlwind, but it's been worth it. I know once it all settles down, it'll be good. But yeah, I moved up here a few days ago, and yeah, it's been crazy for sure.
Well, let's talk about the move. I know you did a press conference with the local media and everything, but just
hmm
talk about the process of, leaving a place at CSUN that you helped build to the point
hmm
where you're, a win away from the NCAA tournament to coming over to Fresno State, a landmark program in college softball, very historic program. Just talk about the process and the thought process on making that big move.
Yeah, I think what I was doing at CSUN was where I was my heart, it was who I was. And I think this opportunity came out of nowhere. And for me, it was very quick. And I know that that's part of the game. And so for me, I really had to, lean on my mentors and lean on my administration also at CSUN and just really do my research and seeing if it's the best move for me and my daughter. And ultimately, um, that's what it came down to was it's an amazing program. I grew up watching Fresno State softball when Margie Wright was here. My first T-shirt my freshman year from my AD was a gray 2XL cotton T-shirt with a bulldog. I wanted to go to Fresno State, and so um, just it kind of is a full circle moment, you know. I coached a lot all over the country, and then had the opportunity when I came home with my daughter and started at Fullerton, and then got to CSUN, and this is a dream job, and this is being able to have the support to be able to coach my players elite, expect them to be elite, have the resources. I loved Garrett's vision, our athletic director, of where Fresno State softball is, the priority it is. As you know, the landscape of college athletics has changed. Everyone knows that. You see programs getting cut, shut down. People are changing levels. And so there was a lot that went into the thought process through this move. And it came down to it was what's best for me and my daughter. And it was an amazing opportunity to take the best job, mid-major job in the country. And it also I could be close to home. But this is who I am. They're a big town, they're a big town, big school, but they love Fresno State and the fans in the community, the history. It's who I am. It's what I'm about. And even Coach Murphy's like, this is you, And again, I believe things happen for a reason. I trust God and I trust the signs. And so there was a lot of tears that went into the decision too, because see someone special to me, and I didn't have that vision of leaving. So there was a lot of tears. There was a lot of thoughts. It wasn't something that was made very lightly. I can tell you that.
Right. Like I always mention this every time I get a coach who just got a new job and they're excited, but had been at another place for a while. The easy part is the saying the yes, right, to the new job. As John Calipari used to said, the easy part, the hard part wasn't like saying yes to Kentucky. That was the easy part. The hard part was leaving a place you were happy in, like he was at Memphis. That seems
hmm
to apply to you at CSUN because when we've had you on with CSUN, you love the process that you were building there. And we even saw it up until last year. We had one of the best seasons
hmm
in CSUN program history, coming this close, a win away from a regionals and a conference championship. That was the hard part for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I know as a player I was very intense and all that, but I'm a player's coach. I love my players. I love my student athletes. I loved my administration at CSUN. Sonia Hahn was a great administrator to me, and my coaches that are currently there, and I'm super excited that Jody's been named the interim head because knowing that they're still taken care of. It's hard. People like, oh, it's easy to make those moves. No, it's not when you truly care. And I'm not here. I don't coach for wins and losses. I don't coach to boost my ego. I've been to the World Series. I know how to win. I know how to do all that. I played pro. I know amazing people. I do what I do because I love the game and I love to mentor. And it was hard when you're leaving your team, you're leaving who you recruited, what you built, your standards, your camaraderie. That is the hard part, and you walk into a little bit of an unknown, right? And that's where I'm at right now. But again, I think it's trusting the process and trusting that this was the best move. And I think if it wasn't hard, then I'm not doing it for what I tell people. And I really lay my head at night saying why I do what I do. So.
Now, you and I have gotten to know each other now for a few years. I did not know the part about you being a Fresno State fan and going to games there. When did that, what years did you get, like, how many years did you go to games as a youngster?
So we used to play qualifiers up here for ASA Nationals back in the day. Fresno hosted a lot of qualifiers to get to Nationals that used to be in Oklahoma City. And so we played up here, and I remember my dad, we drove by the stadium, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is huge, because I'm from Marina Valley, California, which is about 4 hours south. The desert, kind of the same landscape of what Fresno is. We're the desert, we're dry heat, but there's no universities right by me. And so I think I remember seeing that, and that's something that my dad, he's a farmer from Nebraska, so he's blue collar. We work our butts off. And he was like, you're gonna have to work to get there. And I just always remember that. And I went my freshman year at high school, I went to Marina Valley High, and RAD was my head softball coach. And back then, obviously, Margie Wright and what Fresno State was, they're the team to beat, right? And so they were winning national champ. They were just doing phenomenal. So I don't know how it came. He asked, I was like, Fresno State's where I want to go. I showed up one day, and he was a bigger guy, and it was a gray 2XL shirt, cotton. I will never forget. And it had the bulldog right in the middle. And my dad's like, I know, I think I have it. It's in the rafters. And my dad's on a hunt when trying to find this shirt. But and then again, obviously my recruiting course took a different turn, but it was something that I grew up knowing, and we knew about Fresno State softball and how dominant and what they were about. So that's kind of how it was, and so this is a little bit of like home for me because it's something I grew up watching, and it is a full circle moment to be able to lead now a program that I know I looked up, and it was a big motivation for me in high school when I started being able to be recruited. If you want to play at the D1, you got to work. And I think seeing the facility, like seeing the field and stuff really helped put that in perspective when I was younger.
I would say so. What what hit you? What came to your mind when you stepped foot on campus as you're being about, going to get introduced? You did a press conference with the local media. You're on campus. You're at the stadium. What crossed your mind as you were on campus at that moment? Did it hit you?
I think when it really was like walking in, I think for me, as you know, I'm very calm, very always downplay everything. And even through this, I'm very humbled. I'm very, honored. And I think when I walked in and seeing the support in that press conference from the athletic department and from the community, and I had donors, I had a couple alumni, our Diamond Club. It was seeing that, I was like, wow, like this is what it's about. I'm gonna have support. They want this program to be what it was. And it was, I think that's the moment it kind of hit me. And my daughter, I took her to a small bookstore before, and first time she was up there, and I said, pick whatever you want, press conferences are going to be long, and she picked the rally home run chain, right? And she wore it during the press conference, and I'm like, that's a coach's kid right there, you know? And so I think when that and just seeing the support is when it kind of was like, okay, you're here, you know, and this is it's time. And I think for me, it's probably never really going to settle in, I think 100%. But I think that was the moment when I saw everybody from the athletic department and the community come out and support. And Margie Wright called me right before, and I thought I was running late, and so I thought it was like someone like from our athletic department, and it was her. And I was like, "Oh, hi," you know. And for her to call me before, I mean, just to hear the excitement from everybody really made me feel welcomed and also made me feel like, okay, it was the right decision.
What was the message you had to the players you inherited when you first met them?
Yeah, I think, it's always tough on Zoom, right? Like, they lose a coach, it's me. They're like, okay, some might know me, some might not. So what I did is I try to get to have a call with every one of them. So if they had questions about me, and I think who I am is I'm very blunt, honest, and I'm like, look, like a lot of them are, what's your coaching style? How are you? And I'm like, look, you've stayed, you're my player. I don't think anything different. You're my player, you're my family, you're my daughter now. That's how I think. I said, and what I expect is we're going to work hard. Our standards are going to be a little higher because I talked about that in the press conference about having a little bit more pride in everything that we do. And I said, but what I want you to know is we're going to play smart, fast, but we're going to have fun. And I said, if you're ready to work and you're ready, we're not rebuilding. I'm reloading this team, redefining it a little bit. But if you're a bulldog and you want to be a dog and you're ready to get after it, let's go. And that's pretty as simple as it was. And a lot of them were like, I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. And they're like, what do you want me to work on? I'm like, just be you. Just be you. Train like you need to. Be ready to come in and work. I can tell you that. I said it's going to be a little bit different. I think my style is a little different than, Stacy. I said, but I just want you to be you. Show me who you are, and then we'll figure out what's our best team. And so that was kind of my message. I pretty straightforward. You're mine. Get to know each other. My goal is to get them to build, I want to earn their trust, and that's something I work hard at doing. And then trying just to make sure that they know I'm here for them, and if they need anything, to not be afraid to reach out, So I think that's change is always scary, especially for them, right? And I think, but from my conversations, they were really excited. And I think they're really like, they keep asking, when do we come back? When do we come back? And I'm like, God, I'm trying to get everything. Give me a second. I promise I'll get there. But again, I think the energy is great. And I think, yeah, so I think that was the message. Like, hey, I don't think of inheriting. I think you're mine. You're mine now. That's how I look at it. And let's go to work. And if you're ready to do that, let's go.
Well, and that's important to get them to buy in, right? Because you're in the process of learning them, and they're in the process of learning you, and that's I would imagine is what the first handful of months will be a big part of. Certainly the on the field stuff, but the trust factor, the building of a relationship, that's just as important here in the first handful of months, correct? And how do you build that?
Yeah, and I think I don't know how, and I would say that everyone who either worked for me or ever been coached is which sees what you get. There's no hidden agendas. I'm very black and white, and um, especially in this day and age with the way college athletics are, um, there is like this is who we are, this is what we're about, this is what we're doing. And if you're here, you've agreed to sign up for that, right? And if not, I don't do drama, I don't do locker room culture problems. No players above the team. We are a team first, and that's ultimately where this they were really good in school, so I'm really proud that, from the school factor, I don't really have to harp on that too much. That standard, I think they've already been doing for a long time. So again, I think it's just I wanted them to know who I am and kind of who we're about and what we're doing, and change is going to be there. I don't like to hear about, oh, this is what we did. I don't care. It's not me. So the past is the past, and let's move forward. And I also wanted them to know, though, I'm not here to change them. And I think that that's something that's always a scare factor when you get a new head coach. And I think coaches in general is, are they going to change my swing? Are they going to change? And then now they're back. Say I have some juniors and seniors back relearning, right? And I like told them, we're going to keep it simple. My goal is to let them loose. And that's ultimately is I want them to be playing as free and as high level as they can. And so I really wanted them to know is focus on what you're really good at and just be prepared to come here and just showcase who you are. And we'll make the little tweaks to get you where you need to. And I think that that's what I think they're excited for is to know I am kind of a player's coach, and I do, it's not just our way. It's they're part of their process. They're part of their development. If there's a drill you like, I'm not a coach that's like, oh, you can't do it here. Like they're gonna go do it anyway. So I'd rather them do it with me. So then I know that they're what they're really doing. So it's like I'm not that kind of coach that's so like I told him, I said, if there's things that you're liking, make sure you're prepared because when we start having our meetings and we get to know each other through the fall, you're comfortable to talk to me about it. And it's a conversation. It's not me turning it back on them or anything. So it's really was just trying to get them to know who I am. And like I said, I know a couple that were on the team, and I think that they're kind of helping like explaining to them who I am. And again, I think my demeanor, and if you Google me and you see me, I'm very intimidating. So I try to make it as personable as I can so that they're not like, oh my gosh, this coach is going to be crazy. And I'm like, no, I'm really not. I'm really calm. So I'm the opposite of that. But yeah, so that's been the biggest adjustment.
What's the most popular question players ask you?
What's my coaching philosophy and style?
Okay.
Um,
All right.
and
So
it's
so the kids are asking you more about you as a coach than you as a player. Then.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of, and I think that's always, and I'm like, well, it's kind of not a short answer, you know, because like I said, I don't have a cookie cutter way of coaching, and I don't believe any of my assistants, I don't allow them either to do that, and so I'm like, I mean, my job, I can't, I tell them, I'm going to tell you every little thing I see because I see the game in a different lens, right? Like I see in this high elite, like I can see a false step, I can see something that gives something away. Like there's this sense of that I see in this game that a lot of people don't. And I said, so you might make a really good play, but if I see something that I know you could have, I will tell you because I can't go to sleep at night. Because what if then when the game's on the line and we're going to the conference tournament, that one play comes back up and we lose by a step? I said, so I'm gonna coach you guys in this elite high level. I said, but my philosophy is we're one heartbeat. I don't coach fear based. There's no fear based. You're going to make mistakes. You have to make mistakes to be elite. And so I said, like, I want you to know it's like if you make a mistake, your teammate has your back. That's the one heartbeat mentality. And let's take chances. Let's play at a high level. I don't want to coach them at that level. I should be able to coach them to the level and then they play in that level. If I'm coaching them in that level, they will freeze. That's where they start getting like behind. So I that's my job, and I kind of told them my philosophy is one heartbeat, not fear based, coach you to this elite level to where then when you get there, you can play it because you've been there, you've done it, we've practiced it, and you feel confident in that. And so that's kind of how I'm like, I don't know if that really answers because I'm not like launch angle, this and that. Like it's like that's pretty much it. And then we're gonna adapt with who we have. And I think that's how I've been successful anywhere that I've been with the coaching staff. So
So you know the media side, you know the segues that we get into, and that's obviously your staff, with Jody obviously being the interim head coach now at CSUN, which I know you're excited for her to take
Yeah.
over that program and take care of what you both help build. With that being said, now you've got your own staff that you're building, and as we record this, it's still not been finalized or public. By the time this airs, it could be public, so you probably
Mhm.
may have an idea of what you want from your staff. So just tell us a little bit what people can expect from you and your staff, because you've been a pitching coach, you've also been a hitting coach, you've done both. So what is your plan on that front?
Yeah, so I think to start, I'm super excited for Jody to be named interim and knowing that the program and Jamie, my other assistant, stayed at CSUN as well. Obviously, I would have loved them to be here, but I understand and I'm very lucky that knowing that my program's in exceptionally good hands. And so that first and foremost makes me when this was a hard decision, I know that they're being taken care of. So, and I'm super proud of both of them with what they're doing. I think when it came to now redoing my staff was I've been a head coach for 5 years in the college, level. I've been a pro coach for quite a few years. Is I've kind of learned what I need around me, and the personalities and the energy. And I kind of, which again, I think here at Fresno State, we have donors, we have alumni like, well, who's going to do that? They're very like, they wanted to know. And I'm like, I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to get the best staff that is going to make this team elite. And whatever that is, I will do what I need to do for that staff. And so that was my mentality when I was building this staff. Again, I am going to be our primary pitching coach. I have obviously last year I helped assist, Jody. I brought her in to do our pitching. And again, I think the pitching is such an important piece of our game. And so I decided to continue back over that full time. But I do have an assistant that she will be kind of my sidekick. So she also was a pitcher hitter. She played, defense and first as well. So she's going to help me manage the bullpen so that I can be able to. Because my biggest thing of getting out of the bullpen at CSUN was to be with my team more. And so now having her with me is going to allow me, I trust her to be in the bullpen. And I trust, we're still working out some of the things, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be over our infield for a little bit of the management aspect of it. And so that way I'm able to float back and forth just a little. And then I have another young assistant coach that she's probably going to be one of the best hitting coaches in this game. She sees the game in the way I do. She sees hitting in the way I do. And a big piece of her coming was I love hitting and she was a different type of player than I was, so I was more of a power hitter, and she was an exceptional hitter as well. But I think we're going to be able to work together, and I can help. I like to throw BP to our hitters, and so we have some right-handed throwing BP, and then I'm our lefty, and so I think she's going to be the mastermind of the scouting, the breakdown, the film, the technology. Like she knows all of that stuff where I don't. And I love it, but I'm a little bit more old school, but she is as well. And so I think what was really cool with her was the mentors that recommended was that everything hit straight on with who I am and what I need. And so I'm super excited for her. She was also a utility, so she'll probably help a little bit on the defensive side as well. And then my last assistant, he's going to be, my main recruiting coordinator. He is probably the funniest high energy guy I'll ever meet. And I think I've learned on my staff, I don't need you to be me. I'm already calm. I'm very motionless when I coach. I'm very like even. I can handle the pressure. I can take that for our players, but I need someone that is not afraid to be loud and be themselves and tell me when to lighten up, right? Like I need that too. So I'm super excited. I can trust him. He knows the recruiting side of the game. He knows this world. He knows this level. And I think he'll also outfelt his passion, so he'll be over that probably primary as well. Um, and so I'm excited because it was someone that I really wanted to trust in the recruiting side of it that will go out and hustle, but also then adds that dynamic piece to our staff. I have two younger coaches, and then having him brings a little bit too of that maturity, I think, for me and our team, but also he's the light one, like he's the fun, the loud. So it's like a catch 22. But I think I met with them. I think it's just the best mesh. Really lucky. I think they're all really eager to get started and to get going. And I can just say that I think this team's going to be in really good hands with what we're doing, and we're gonna work together to make sure everyone gets what they need from the catching to any part of the game. All of us can do it at a high level.
You mentioned obviously the high interest in Fresno State softball, donors, passionate fan bases.
Yeah.
Uh, how much does the fact you have experience is working in the media side, and
Yeah.
the fact that your mentor, who you play for, is one of the best in as far as handling the media and PR and promoting the sport, in Patrick Murphy?
Mhm.
How much of all that being around him and learning from him, with your background, working on the media side, will you lean on? Because this Fresno's job is a very, very public job. You will be doing a lot of media locally and even nationally, and
Mhm.
also getting the word out and promoting the program. How much is that going to be a big help for you in this venture here, having been around it with Murph doing what he's done at Alabama and promoting that program in the sport and dealing and handling the fan base and talking to them, and your background and experience that you've had?
I think that I mean, I've heard, okay, it's a tough place. Like, they're, the history, the fans, the alumni, like they want it to be what it was. And I'm like, well, it should be like, and in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I understand why and yes, times have changed and things are, but I think for me, I have exceptional mentors. Murphy, I talk to him daily, well, probably 3 to 5 times a week. I do lean on him quite a bit. He has helped me mature me a lot as my personality. I'm an alpha, I'm a type A, so sometimes I used to not think before I would speak, right? And so um, I've matured in my older age. But yeah, I think he's been a big part for me and helps me. And I have a couple other that I do lean on. And I also, I worked for ESPN. I was in that public eye. I was doing studio work. I've done a lot of interviews. I've been in hot seats. I've had, I mean, I can just remember being on deck at Alabama in a game and I was 0 for 2, and the fans that get in the front row, I mean, they're just wearing me out. And they're my fans, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, I didn't mean to ground out, but I know that there's a part of passion, which is why I took this job, was because of them and their passion for this university and the community. And I know that this is a huge job, and it is one of the best jobs in the country. Like, and I didn't take it just cause or not knowing the pressures that come with it. And so I think for me is I'm just authentically myself, and my goal is we're going to be in the community. I am going to be in there. I will listen. Okay. 100%. At the end of the day, my job is to make the best decisions to set this team up to win. And the ultimate just thing is I want us to represent this university and this community at the highest level. And so if anything comes short of that, it comes down on me. And I understand that. And I can take those pressures. I've been that person ever since I was little. And so having that pressure, that's fine. Like I had an interview yesterday, like, is the pressure gonna, only 6 coaches? And I'm like, I do better in pressure. Like, I wasn't at CSUN because I'm just at CSUN. I'm building something. I did things that was different. I was out of the norm. I rose the levels within that program, right? Like I don't know how to be anything else but who I am, and that's elite. And so my standards are my standards. My process and everything is super elite. And so I think for me, having a lot of that background, I'm lucky that at Alabama they did a lot of media training, a lot when I was a college student athlete. And then, I've been at a lot of places at, Maryland, Georgia Tech, Oklahoma State, where when we came over there with Kenny, there was a lot of heat, right? That was another big program that needed to get back on its feet. So I think I've been lucky to have amazing head coaches that I've worked for, mentors. But I think at the end of the day is if what I say is who I am, I do what I'm supposed to do, wins and losses are going to take care of themselves. We will win. We will do that. I'm going to talk about everything else that leads up to that. Um, and I am here to listen and I'm here to go. It's a new era. It's a different, but I think that that's something that I will definitely lean on. And I think I handle pretty well. I think I handle those situations pretty well. I know it's a small town. I know that everyone's going to know what I'm doing, where I'm around. I'm going to run into people left and right. That's why I took this job. I didn't take the job saying I didn't know that that was part of it. That's why I want it. I loved being in smaller towns where everyone knew, right? That's how you feel the stands. That's how you make a difference in people's lives. And I did 21 lessons when I was a student athlete. I loved the community. And I have a daughter who's 6. And so we're going to be out in the community and we're going to be doing, and that is a reason I took this job. And so for me, pressure, that's my job. And if I'm doing things right way, then to me, I got to just keep making sure that I doing it pure and for the right reasons.
You thrive on it in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. It's interesting, like Caleb Rose in coaching now is with Murph Staff Alabama, and she's thriving there as with all the
Mhm.
expectations there. Molly Fickner with the job she's doing at Louisiana Monroe, building that program and building the interest over there. She's what this, I don't know, maybe it's in the water in Tuscaloosa there when you're all getting there, but maybe you make a great point. I mean, there's some similarities there with playing at Alabama and Tuscaloosa. I've been there where the packed and they're talking passionate for softball. And like you said, if they lose a game, it's like, whoa, what's going on? And so you've been through this already. So but that's where that brings the passion out of it.
And I think that that's what I mean, when I chose Alabama, I chose to be their first Californian because I wanted to be different. I chose being uncomfortable. I chose being the first Californian softball player to go to University of Alabama. And I am an alpha type A, probably the hardest personality to go in there, right? And I had a little anger when I was a player. So I've never chose easy. And I like the hard. And I think Murph has done an exceptional job of mentoring his student athletes for all of those pressures. And when it came down to the X's and O's and like the counts and the mentality as a player, you couldn't. I already was outworking you. I'm already outsmarting you. Like you didn't have to motivate me to be an exceptional ball player. I was at a different level. I saw the game at a different level that I wanted. And I think that you didn't have to tell me how to work. And so, but you did have to mentor me, I think, on how to handle outside pressures, right? And I think that is something that I will say Murphy has done a phenomenal job. But what he does continue is he's there for us after. And I talked with Kayla before she took the job. I know Molly, and we're all still really close. And I think that that's special. And one of the reasons I took this job is because of the alumni and the history that this program has. Because I know how special and unique that is because not every place has that. But I do know Fresno State has that, and that's something that I'm excited to get into, and get
Yeah.
to know people and get to meet them and bring them back and talk to our players, talk to my coaches. Like, when Margie talked to me about the scoreboard and just like, she's like, let me know. I said, you're coming. She goes, oh, I'll be on a flight. I'm like, perfect. You're coming. Like, I want you here. This is you guys started this program, and I think that's again why I think Murph said it was a perfect place for me is that's how we are at Alabama. I don't get to go back all the time because I am a head coach but I still know he still makes it very is like we still are part of that program. Tradition never graduates. And here at Fresno, like I want the alumni and the people that give their hard-earned money. It's a lot of, they work hard for their money out here and they choose to give it to us. I want them to be proud of that. One, using it right and we're being good people and we're making it exciting for them to come out and we're getting in the community with the youth. And that to me is what it's about. And that is why I took this job was because of all of those things that come along with, yes, it's a great university and everyone looks at it from the softball aspect, but I look at it from the holistic aspect. And that's why I chose, to come here and to help lead this program.
That's well said. Couple things before we let you go, because I know you're busy,
Yeah.
got a lot of stuff going on. You mentioned earlier Fresno State, obviously currently in the Mountain West, short term,
Yeah.
in the for the next season, which is going to be a competitive league with San Diego State, obviously, and of course you got Nevada with the job Victoria
Hmm.
Haywood's done there. A lot of high profile coaches, by big names in the sport. That's going
We
to be
love
fun. So
it.
that's the short term, but then the long term after that is the move to the Pac-12. So
Yeah.
just talk about that from a program standpoint and the impact on that, because I'm sure that was part of the conversations you've had with everybody as you were looking into this job and this big move that's coming for the university. Short term Mountain West goals, but then obviously going to the Pac-12.
Yeah, I think, when this job approached, that was something I looked into is I've been at multiple institutions where we've tiered sports, we've done some different things. There's been some budget. And with the landscape of the House settlement and what you see in college athletics, there's a lot of change happening, and it's scary. It is a very scary time as well for a lot of programs, and especially softball. There's a few programs that are revenue sports, but not very many around the country. It's an amazing sport, and I think it's hit. It takes the Women's College World Series. Just the amount of interest in softball is huge here. But when I went to dinner with Garrett, our AD, and I was talking to him about where is softball? What is the priority? Because I know what this community wants. I know what the pressures are in this community for Fresno State softball. Um, and to be able to get to where we need to be, we have to be supported to be able to get there. And so moving into the Pac-12, and I know it's not the normal Pac-12, and we'll get all of those comments, which again, to me, Nick Saban, I always said, gave me one of our biggest, I would say, things I've kept two things from two people. Sue and Quest told me the game is 60 feet, one left turn when I decided not to go to UCLA and then went to Alabama. She told me not to forget that. She said, because the game is going to get fast and crazy, but don't forget 60 feet, one left turn. So I put that quote in my locker. It's a quote that I live by. If I changed the game, I changed it. The game never changed. The second thing was Nick Saban, my senior year, his second year, we're ranked number one. There's a lot of pressure about being number one. We went in, he talked to us. He talked about trash. And he goes, if you're at your desk and you allow a piece of trash to be on your desk, that's your choice to let that trash be on your desk. He goes, but it's your choice to pick up the trash and throw it away. So when the media comes, when the pressures come, when the comments come, when whatever it is, you have a choice that if it clutters your mind and it clutters your brain and the way you function, it's your choice. If not, get the trash, throw it away. And a lot of people hear him talk about the rat poison. That's part of it, right? And those are things I think about. And so going to the Pac-12 and hearing from our athletic department and what the president has backed in Fresno State athletics is they're showing that they are putting Fresno State athletics as a top priority. And that, making that big move is huge. And so comes with that is, we just got Texas State to come in, and now it's starting to, kind of fruition into what the pack's going to be. And I think that was a big decision for me coming here was we are going to be supported. We are, we need with the house settlement coming and just the different of landscaping. How are we going to be competitive back as we are one of the top mid majors? We have everything that we need here. We have the bones. There needs to be a little bit more. And I think with the new AD and his vision is already coming in a short time that he's been here at Fresno State. And so that was something that really sold me, and knowing that they are putting our athletic department, but also my team in softball as one of those top teams to be able to be successful. And I think that that's huge. And that comes for me of when I made the decision of, okay, this is softball is a priority. The Fresno State, that everyone can want it to be what it is or was, but if we can't be supported to get there, it's going to be hard. As you
Yeah,
know, the
yeah.
SEC, though, they figured out programs, they figured out facilities to don't they have figured it out. But you have seen now that it's spread all over the country, and I think that that's helped our game. It's not a couple teams, and I think now Fresno State has definitely is taking that step in the right direction. Not just for the softball program, but for our whole athletic department. And as we know, our football team and our athletic department have to go. If they go, we go, right? And but having that vision from our president all the way down is what's important. And those were things that I saw here. And it's a big move and it's an exciting move and it's exciting to be a part of that change for this, university.
That's very exciting. And boy, wow, I just realized how many big time coaches you've met in your life. I don't know. Do you ever like stop and think of like, wow, how many like Nick Saban and Sue Enquist? Not many people could say that you've talked to two goats like that. Even one of them, and you've
I
known both of them
know.
among many a long list that you have. That's I love those two quotes. That is, I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, I'm very blessed and very fortunate. And I even when I took the job, Sue Enquist sent me a message, and I didn't play for her, like, but just and I've spent numerous hours. I remember and I took the CSUN job 5:30 in the morning, we were talking, and she taught me about like dropping the rope mentality and just yeah, I don't know how. It's like if you know who I am, great, but if you don't, like I know so many people and that's what I love about this game and that's why I coach. And I didn't think I'd ever be a college coach. I thought I was going to be a K-9 undercover officer for the FBI. But God had different plans.
I'm kind of glad that it did because otherwise we definitely would have never have met. That would have been an interesting career choice there.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, but I think that that's what's so awesome. I can call Cat Osterman. I know Finch, Bustos. I played with Mendoza. I worked with, Mendoza and Michelle Smith and Beth Mowens. Like I've been so blessed and lucky. And that's why I like continue to do what I do. And again, I'm always going to do it at a high level and win. But the people that I know, if I didn't have this game, I would never have met these amazing people. And I'm so lucky to have them and also have my daughter raised around them and Odyssey Alexander and Sid Ramon, they love my like just this softball's so awesome. I can't speak about it. And taking this job, Laura Berg and Lovey Jung, like there's like some greats that I didn't get to play with them because they retired from USA, but they were around when, Mendoza and Bustos when I was in the pro league and just there were such exceptional student athletes like and Olympians back in the day that came from Fresno. I'm like, we're all intertwined. Like we all know each
yes.
other, and and that's why it's really neat. It's like this job is personal to me and it has a personal touch of, for me, it wasn't just opportunity that's like, yep, because it's a great job. It's no, my first shirt was a Fresno State Bulldog shirt. Like,
Yeah.
so it's been really cool.
You gotten your daughter a Bulldog shirt yet? Kind of full circle moment?
Yeah, we did. And I mean, they of course spoiled her here. I took her to the store and she literally got the home run chain. I'm like, that's what you want? You don't want a shirt or anything? But she's like, no, I want the Bulldog chain. So, again, I think she's definitely, they're treating her well here. So,
I could see that. I could definitely see that. Well, I know
so,
I know you're excited for the move, and I know a lot of people are excited. I'm excited for you. Like I said, I'm excited for you. Congratulations on the move. We'll be
yeah.
in touch. I know we'll get you back on frequently, but I know you got a
Yeah.
lot of work to do. But hey, thanks so much for taking the time. I know it's a busy time for you as you're making you made the big move. You're finalizing your staff and all that comes around it. Plus, you're a mom as well. But thanks for taking the time and talking to us, and we'll talk to you soon here on In the Circle on D1 Softball.
Okay, awesome. Thank you again, and I appreciate everything you do for our sport. You're one of the best, so that doesn't go unknown. You grind for us, and I appreciate that. So thank you, and excited for this to continue. It's just the beginning, so the dogs are coming, so we're excited.